1228 Wu MeKuan, a collection of 48 Zen koans, is compiled in China. In 1414 Council of Constance 16th Ecumenical Council opens. In 1492 Christopher Columbus learns how to grow and harvest maize corn from Cuba's indigenous population. In 1499 publication of the Catholicon in Treguier, Brittany. Breton-French-Latin dictionary written in 1464 by Jehan Lagadeuc was first Breton and French dictionary. Copernicus Observes Eclipse 1500-6 astronomer Copernicus observes a lunar eclipse in Rome. In 1530 St Felix Flood ravages Dutch coast and destroys the city of Reimerswaal in the Netherlands. Second Battle of Panipat 1556 Second Battle of Panipat. Hindu Emperor of North India Hem Chandra Vikramaditya is defeated by forces of Mughal Emperor Akbar, who captures and later beheads Hem Chandra Brahe observes a supernova 1572 Danish astronomer Tycho Brahe observes a bright new object with the naked eye in the Cassiopeia constellation, which he believes to be a new star, but is now known as a supernova, a massive explosion of a dying star. 1. Bergh Imprisoned 1583 Dutch Count William Roman IV van den Bergh, Stadtholder of Gelders and Zutphen, and his family taken prisoner on suspicion of treason by forces of William I of Orange. In 1605 Catholic conspirator Guy Fawkes attempts to blow up King James I and the British Parliament in the Gunpowder Plot. The plot is discovered, and Guy Fawkes is caught, tortured, and later executed along with 7 others. Celebrated ever since as Guy Fawkes Day, his effigy is traditionally burned on a bonfire, accompanied by fireworks. In 1630 Spain and England sign the Treaty of Madrid, the peace treaty ending the Anglo-Spanish War 1625-1630. In 1639 first post office in the colonies is set up in Massachusetts. In 1678 Sweden loses Greifswald to Brandenburg forces during Scanian War. In 1725 Spain and Austria sign a secret treaty, A Treatise of Human Nature 1740. The third volume of philosopher David Hume's seminal work A Treatise of Human Nature is published by Thomas Longman. In 1743 coordinated scientific observations of the transit of Mercury were organized by Joseph Nicolas de Lisle. In 1757 Battle at Rosbar, 7-Year War, French-Indian War. Boston Tea Declaration 1773 John Hancock is elected as moderator at a Boston town meeting that resolves that anyone who supports the Tea Act is an enemy to America. In 1780 French-American force under Colonel Labarme is defeated by Miami Chief Little Turtle. In 1781 John Hanson elected first President of US in Congress assembled. In 1789 fleeing slaves under Bonny attack military post on Suriname. In 1789 French National Meeting declares all citizens equal under law. In 1811 El Salvador's first battle against Spain for independence. In 1838 Honduras declares independence of Central American Federation. In 1854 Crimean War, British-French defeat Russian force of 50,000 at Inkerman. In 1862 Battle at Barbie's Crossroads, Virginia, 51 casualties. Susan B. Anthony votes illegally. 1872 American women's right to vote advocate Susan B. Anthony votes for Ulysses S. Grant. Pacific Scandal 1873 Due to the fallout from the Pacific Scandal, John A. Macdonald resigns as Prime Minister of Canada. In 1876 Henry Morton Stanley's expedition leaves Nianwe. 1881 1,600 police and volunteers attack Maori settlement at Paraharker in Western Taranaki, which had become the symbol of protest against the confiscation of Maori land, New Zealand. In 1881 French government ferry resigns. Vlast 1882 Bed X Metaner S complete Vlast premieres, conducted by Adolf H. at of N Palace, in Prague, Kingdom of Bohemia. In 1883 Battle at El Obeid Sudan, Mahdi's army destroys Egyptian army. In 1883 Edward Harrigan's musical farce Cordelia's Aspirations premieres at Theatre Comique. Nick. In 1887, Ottawa College Offu defeats Montreal Football Club QRFU 10-5 to win the Dominion Championship. In 1889, Louisa Woosley is the first woman ordained as a minister in any Presbyterian denomination in the U.S. Cumberland Presbyterian Church. In 1894, Frederick Lugard's expedition reaches Nikki. In 1894, Richard Strauss' tone poem Till Yelan Spiegel s Merry Pranks premieres. In 1895, Edward, Prince of Wales, says we are all socialists nowadays. In 1895, first U.S. automobile patent is granted to George B. Selden for a gasoline-driven car. In 1895, U.S. state Utah accepts female suffrage. In 1898, Gerhard Hauptmann's play Fuhrmann Henschel premieres in Berlin. In 1900, under U.S. military control since the end of the Spanish-American War in 1898, Cuba now calls its own constitutional convention. In 1901, debut concert of the Warsaw Philharmonic Orchestra, conducted by Emil M. Anaski. Program features Zygmunt Stachowski's Symphony in D minor Op. 21. Amundsen completes Northwest Passage. 1905, Roald Amundsen reaches Eagle City, Alaska, to announce to the world by telegraph his is the first expedition, in 400 years of attempts, to complete a Northwest Passage 1. In 1911, Galbraith Rogers arrives in Pasadena, completing the first transcontinental airplane flight in 49 days after leaving Thieves Head Bay, New York, on September 17. In 1911, Italian forces take Tripoli Cyrenaica, declaring suzerainty over Ottoman-controlled Libya. In 1912, Arizona, Kansas, Wisconsin vote for female suffrage. In 1912, Bulgarian troops in Constantinople blockade drinking water. Wilson elected president. 1912, Democrat candidate Woodrow Wilson is elected president of the United States, defeating Republican incumbent William Howard Taft and progressive candidate Theodore Roosevelt. In 1913, Ludwig Roman III crowned King of Bavaria. In 1914, Britain declares war on Turkey and annexes Cyprus, occupied since 1878. The immediate reason is to keep it from being taken by Turkey. In 1916, Second Chamber accept initial impetus to general male-female suffrage. In 1916, the Everett Massacre takes place in Everett, Washington, as political differences lead to a shootout between